Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The witness is being brought in at the moment.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Mr. Sambou.
Mr. Sambou, ñu ngi la dalalat benen yoon.
Before the break,
Bala ñu doon noppaleku ji.
You are looking at your documents to see whether you can give us a flavor, an example of some of the things Yaya Jammeh would write.
Bala ñu doon noppaleku ji doon seet ci sa biir kayit yi ndax diñ ci mëna gis dara loo xam ne diñ ñu ko mëna won ci mbir yoo xam ne Yaya Jammeh daan na ko bind ci ron kayit yi ngeen ko daan yóbbu.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Lead counsel, I want to show you an example of what you are asking. That is the language President Jammeh used, former President Jammeh used to address some of us.
Here
is a minute that the principal assistant secretary at the time sent through me to His Excellency.
Principal secretary minute president.
And in reply, he also wrote a minute. Despite the fact that he approved of what we requested to him, from him, he said, he wrote to me, PS, if you present any minute with such type to me,
so
you will regret it.
So indeed, minute
then he wrote NB, ST, stroke PS.
Hello. Let's go back let's take it back again and have a better interpretation.
Okay. Then he said, if you present any minute with such to me, so you will regret it.
So bindate minute you melni comme ci anam gi dang ko reccu
comme bo ma bindalate xibaar yu melni ding ko reccu.
Then he wrote NB SG stroke PS, send her home. In fact, because this is unacceptable, full stop. Fire her as an example to others, not like her.
Pinana NB mu ne ko mu yóbbu ko mu na génne ko dàq ko comme ni ñeneen.
These minutes I secretly photocopied.
Minutes yi nak dama ko photocopy ci secret.
I wanted to write a memoir or something, or maybe an occasion like this would come. And, if you explain to people, they will believe. And here's a photostat copy of one of these with such language written to me for other staff. This was a lady who was suckling, and I passed her the file to write the minute, and she sent it through me, and it went. He couldn't accept it.
Li nak jigen la jo xamne ni jamono joju mu ngay nampal ci la bind nak li mu daldi ko jaarale ko ci mom.
Please let me take a quick look. From this document, are you able to tell what was Yaya Jammeh's concern?
Ci kayit bii nii ndax diñ ci mun a wax Yaya Jammeh moom lan la ci jublu woon.
Lan la ko ci métti woon ba tax mu wax ju métti ji le.
I don't really remember because it's a long time.
Manatuma ko fàttaliku ndax lu yàgg la.
Probably it could have been the language.
Mun naa man muy kàddu yoo xam ne.
Well, says here that Your Excellency's kind attention is being drawn to folio 30 and minutes 27 and 28 on file in relation to search and rescue exercise. Mattered Ensign Kana Konili. Well, I don't know what Mattered Ensign Kana Konili means. Maybe Kana Konili is not English. Maybe it's either an acronym or just a name that is given to the search and rescue operation. But take a look at it again. Maybe you can find, decipher the problem Jammeh had with this. Just a moment, Mr. Chair, I'll send it to you.
Go ahead, yes. But while he's doing that, probably can help us with context as well. The commissioners can see the document later on.
Thank you.
But if you can provide context.
A bit of context and just a bit of background and then we
precisely.
This was supposed to have been a search and rescue exercise.
With
partner security services. I think this was a civil defense. It had to deal with the fire service and the military together. And the military were being asked to nominate 1 or 2 candidates. So he was being requested to, you give in 2 or 3 names and he chooses from them. That's why he said any one of these above officers can go. CDS to call on the above.
So he was not satisfied perhaps with the manner in which or the language in which the minute was written.
The lady, yes. I should think so, yes. I remember.
But of course you know that to write, like the person's ability to write to a considerable extent depends on the person's education or level of education.
She was a PAS at the time.
PAS la won ci jamono bobu.
Assistant Secretary.
Principal Assistant Secretary.
But you would agree that the person's ability to write to a considerable extent would depend on the person's level of education.
Wa hejna ringa mun na nangu nak ne hejna nit ki munam ci ni anam yi nga xamne non la bindé ak tollu way minna bi fum wara dem dafa dess ci njangam tam fan la tollu.
Indeed.
Wow.
And would it be fair to say that Yaya Jammeh expected a very high level of writing and reading skills?
Hejna Yaya Jammeh mo ngon sentu nak yenen anam yi façon ngi bindin yo xamne yu kowe la yo xamne ci anam yu for la don ñu ko mëna bindé ak niñ ko jangé.
That is what he expected in this minute.
Hejna lool la don sentu ci xibaar yi bindani.
This was a very simple minute.
Minute was simple bu yomb la won rek.
So it didn't implicate any detailed issues and as PS or DPS. We don't want to involve a PS to write any complicated minute. It was a few lines.
Well, we are talking about Yaya Jammeh's expectations. You told us that when you write something, he would check your commas, your punctuation, and all that. So he expected a high standard.
Yes, indeed.
Well, ñu ngi wax li nga xam ne moom la Yaya Jammeh doon séntu parce que ci gannaaw tuuti wax nga fi ne boo ko bindalee dara dina seet anam yi nga ko bindee fa ngaa dalee fa ngaa ekkatee xëj na moom tam yu mel noonu la doon séntu ci xibaar yooyu ñu bindoon.
mu ngi doon séntu mun na binda bu kowe ci ñiy liggéey ci nguur gi.
Lu am na.
That's what happened.
Lu am na.
But the fact of the matter is, isn't that really foolish? Considering the fact that the recruitment policy of government at the time signaled the very opposite.
Ndax loolu du doon mbir moo xam ne nag lu doy waar la ndaxte soo ko seetloo.
lu ñàkk a fula la lu ñàkk a solo.
li nga xam ne noonu lañ daan jëlee liggéeykat yi ci anam boobu dafa ute ak façon bii nii.
Council could have been right, you know.
Waaw mun naa nekk dëgg nag.
Could have been right or council is right.
Mun naa nekk dëgg wala council dëgg la.
All right, council is right.
Waaw kon dëgg la.
Well, it has to be about the content, really, of the proposition. Let's take a look at the NIA. That would take us to the next topic we wanted to discuss.
Fànn bi nga xam ne moom lañ bëgg a waxtaanee mooy ni nga xam ne noonu la ñoo jëlee liggéey ay nit ci NIA.
A lot of the NIA officers, senior NIA officers, including directors general, had no qualification higher than secondary 4.
ñi nga xam ne ñoo nekk ci NIA bokk na sax ñi nga xam ne nekk nañ directeur général jiite NIA yëpp seen maxaama ci seen wàlli njàng weesuwul fi ñoo secondary 4.
Agreed.
Nangu naa.
Isn't that a tragedy?
Anam yoo ko mun a waxee.
Well, this is something I found there.
Lii nag nekk na loo xam ne man foofu laa ko fekk.
And sometimes officers are sent over to the NIA for enlistment from State House.
Am na ñoo xam ne dañ leen a yóbbu ci NIA pour ñu bind leen ñu bokk ci liggéey bi.
Sometimes they are transferred from the
State House.
Allow for the interpretation to complete.
Sorry. Sometimes they are moved.
Ak ñeneen.
NIA is the institution we have seen where the security guards are promoted all the way to director.
NIA rek mooy liggéeykaay boo xam ne ñi nga xam ne ay security guard la ñuy garder sax dinañ jël yokk seen maxaama ba mu kowe ba tollu ci place director.
That was not during my time.
Loolu nag du ci suma jamono.
It used to happen.
Waaye daan na am.
It has happened.
Am na.
But this is supposed to be an intelligence institute of government.
Lii dafa war a nekk loo xam ne mu ngi ci diggi xoli nguur gi.
Doing some of the most sensitive intellectual work for the government.
ñoo xam ne ñoom ñooy def liggéey boo xam ne liggéey bu jar a bàyyi xel la ci nguur gi.
Jig liggéey xam-xam bu rëy pour nguur gi. Wherein information is gathered in the most unconventional ways and analyzed, and out of which policy decisions are taken to advance the government. Ay xibaar yu bari la ñuy dajale yoo xam ne niñ koo dajalee utee naag comme ni nga dajalee xibaar ci ay jéego yu doy waar la ñuy jël pour dajale xibaar yooyu ñu war koo matuwaay yi mu war a jël loolu doon lu war a doy waar loolu liggéey borom xam-xam la. Do you agree with that?
I do.
Nangu naa.
But look at the NIA. A lot of the people who were recruited into the service had no more than secondary 4 certificates.
Waaye seetal NIA nag ñi ci
Isn't that a terrible disappointment?
loolu nag nekkul mbir moo xam ne lu doy waar.
It was when I first took over in
loolu la jamono bi nga xam ne ci laa njëkk jël na
March
place
2006.
ci weeri March atum 2006.
I met
ci laa fekk
a new batch of recruits
baaj bu ees boo xam ne ñu ngi leen a jël si liggéey.
that were just enlisted.
yoo xam ne dañ leen bind ees rek.
The Marina.
ci Marina.
They had not even undergone the simplest of training, which is the trade craft.
About
150. And I embarked on an institutional reform. But I couldn't complete it.
Why?
Events of the 2006 coup overtook that exercise. And I was eventually removed before I completed the job. But it's exactly what lead counsel said.
I mean, isn't it counterintuitive to recruit people who had no significant qualification, yet you expect the highest level of performance from them?
ndax li amu jaamaaroo boo xam ne mu ngi ci nga jël nit liggéey koo xam ne xam-xamam dafa néew nga séntu nag mu def liggéey boo xam ne borom xam-xam yu kowe ñoo ko war a def.
To a certain degree,
ci yenn maqaama yi
it was more or less like a dumping ground.
dafa mel ni rek béréb la boo xam ne nii tuureekaay la.
But the NIA was, yes, okay, dumping ground from other institutions. But the foreign affairs was even worse because the NIA people were dumped into foreign affairs afterwards.
Wa dëgg la NIA moom béréb la comme mbalit la woon rek dañoo gëjëlee nit fële rek ñoo sànni la fa waaye nag bunta bi saytu woon diggante réew mi bitim réew ñoo gënoon na bon sax ndaxte ñoomi tamit dañ daan jëlee ay nit NIA rek sànni leen fa.
True or false?
Indeed.
Dëgg la.
True?
True.
True. Dëgg la.
I have seen a statement yesterday of someone who had only secondary 4 certificate, grew to be senior officer at NIA, and moved to Morocco or Taiwan as counselor and head of mission.
I know.
What would you say to that?
Successive DGs picked up their boys and relatives and sent them to foreign affairs for eventual posting as a NIA liaison officer in the embassy. There's a provision to post an NIA officer in most of the embassies. And the budgetary allocations are independent from that of foreign affairs. Drawn from the NIA's budget. This is why they send their people. They rise up, and when you go send somebody to an embassy, our embassies most of the time are understaffed. At the end of the day, the liaison officer is the one who is left there. Rather than post somebody new from Foreign Affairs Banjul,
foreign affairs
a liaison officer is just automatically elevated.
So in a sense, the position of a trained diplomat who under the general orders must have a minimum qualification of bachelor's degree is now given to a secondary 4 holder from the NIA.
The irony here is, lead counsel, I won't hide it. I have seen it. You send a liaison officer to Senegal. Like you said, he is secondary 4 graduate.
Mungi makama mungi tollu rek ci secondary 4.
Doesn't even have a command of the English language.
Boo xam ne ni làkk anglais bi sax setut ko.
Let alone French.
Niki sax làkkam français.
He's not good in English, in Wolof.
Déggu Wolof.
And you post him to Senegal.
Nga dal di ko yóbbu ni dëkk bu mel ni Sénégal.
What do you expect of that guy?
Loo sentu ci kooku.
And invariably,
tey tamit.
even whereas the DG who posted him there has been changed.
tey tamit bu fekkee ne directeur bi nga xam ne moo ko fa ebal sax dal dinañ ko wecci.
You can't touch him.
mënuloo koo laal.
Why is that?
lu tax doo ko mën a laal.
I don't know. Various.
Of course, Mr. Sambou, you do.
Xam.
It hasn't happened in
don't,
time.
You cannot hide behind I don't know. Call a spade and speak
hide.
it out.
We are coming.
ñu ngi ñëw.
I won't hide.
Du ma nëbbutu.
You can be rest assured, lead counsel.
Naa la garal.
Thank you. See, call it as it is. Why can't such people be touched?
waxal wane rek mbir mi ni mu demee rek. li tax duñ leen laal.
The affinities. Their affinities.
What affinities?
Sometimes.
These things are not in the abstract.
Sometimes family.
Family, yes.
You just mentioned tribe.
Tribe? No, I didn't mention.
No, not here. In your introduction to the issues to be discussed.
Okay, yes. Tribe.
That's an inference to that. And sometimes friendship.
But
then with the frequent changes in leadership in the NIA, nothing was permanent. And so deployments, transfers, and so on, times ended up jumbled up. There was real need for institutional reform in that place. But then with the interference from above,
all these changes would not have happened without Jammeh's knowledge.
Of course.
He must have given tacit or expressed approval.
Lead counsel.
Lead counsel.
A witness here from the NIA said the NIA was under the office of the president.
Amna benn sédé bu tok fi né NIA mu ngi nekkon ci ron office president bi.
The NIA was Yaya Jammeh's baby.
NIA nak doomi Yaya Jammeh la won.
Nothing happened inside the NIA.
I think you are putting it nicely. It was Yaya Jammeh's tool.
Fok na yang ko rafetal de bone doomi Yaya Jammeh la won. Dafa melni jumtu way Yaya Jammeh la won.
It was his tool. Would you agree?
Of
course. Wow. In fact, from day one, it was his tool to perpetrate the worst human rights violations against Gambians. Could you answer now?
Yes.
Wow.
You agree with that?
Of course I agree.
And let's talk about when you first entered the NIA and the violations that happened very early on.
Légui nak ñu wax ba nga ñëkke commencé duga NIA ak li nga xamné modi yaxa yelle fi nga xamné mo fa doon xew gannaaw bi.
Of course, we take cognizance of the fact that the NSS moved into the NIA. And at the outset, you were director of administration and finance, isn't it?
Director of administration and finance.
Yes. Even from that early on, the NIA was used as an institution to torture people in order to get what Yaya Jammeh wanted.
Ndaxam sax ca ndortega NIA dañ ko jëlon rek def ko jumtuwaay boo xam ne dañu mbugal nit ñi di leen mitital pour am rek ci ñoom li nga xam ne moom la Yaya Jammeh soxla ci ñoom.
True or false?
Dëgg la wala déet?
Dëgg la.
The thing is, this is being video recorded and aired. If you answer out of turn, your answer would not be captured because the camera would be focused on somebody else.
I'm sorry.
So I'll put the question again. Even at the outset, use the NIA as a tool
def ko jumtuwaay
to get what he wanted. It was used as an institution to torture Gambians to get whatever it is that he wanted.
muy jëfoo NIA mu doon béréb boo xam ne daf ci daan sukkandiku pour di mitital di mbugal waa Gambia pour jot ci ñoom li nga xam ne moom la soxla.
Is that true or is it false?
dëgg la wala déet.
Lead Council, the primary function of an intelligence gathering institution,
Lead Council li njël benn liggéey buntu liggéey
security
kaay
intelligence institution, is to gather intelligence,
ci liggéey bu mel ni ki NIA mooy pour ñu dajale ay bataaxel yu
look into threats against the state.
ak tamit seetlu nag li nga xam ne nii mu ngi jëm ci wàlli luy xejamal jàmmi réew mi.
If you look at other institutions,
wala ci UK bi
you will find out that they have adequate independence.
da ngay gis ne daal ñoom wéeruñ ci kenn.
But in the case of the Gambia and the NIA,
attention
they use, like you said, as a tool,
dañ lay jëfoo jëfandaay
the institution.
di liggéey buntu liggéey kaay boobu.
It occurs.
léegi mu xew.
Let's make a comparison between the NSS and the NIA.
bu ñëwee ñu méngale diggante NSS ak NIA.
I served in the NSS.
liggéey naa ci NSS.
We strictly gathered intelligence
dañ dee dajale ay bataaxel yu mbuut.
and sent it to the head of state, the
ñu dal di
principal.
ko àggale nag ci njiiti réew mi.
And he passed on the orders to the SG.
mu dal di yónnee nag bataaxel boobu ci SG bi.
And decisions were taken.
ñu dal di jël ay dogal.
These were white papers,
lii nag nekk na ay kayit.
researches on the economy,
di seet nag ci mbiri koom-koomi réew mi ak nekki ni nit ñi.
and other things.
ak yeneen i fànn.
But
waaye.
with the NIA,
ak ci NIA nag.
which was created
nga xam ne ni sos ko nag.
after dissolving the NSS,
gannaaw boo xam ne tasaare nañ NSS bi.
not only new faces came,
nekkul rek ne sax ay kanam yu ees ñoo ñëw.
because most of the old guys in the NSS were.
waaye ñu bëri nag ci NSS bi ñoom joxoon nañ leen liggéey bi.
Yeah, Jammeh give it a new function and a new role.
daal yaa Jammeh daf ko joxoon beneen façon ngi liggéey ak beneen façon ngi warugal.
And in that, the NIA was giving much broader powers than the NSS. You agree with that?
ci kaw loolu dafa mel ni NIA dañ leen jox gën a jox doole comme NSS.
Decree 45.
45.
waaw comme ni ki Decree 45 ñeent fukk ak juróom.
And no longer was the NIA limited to looking into things that affected the state. The NIA was now given powers to look into things that affected private individuals who resided in the country.
NIA na ñoom emale wuñ woon rek seen mbir ci loo xam ne daf doon xejamal wala kaaraange li nga xam ne moo di réew mi waaye duggoon nañ sax ba ci ay nit yoo xam ne ñu ngi nekkoon ci biir réew mi seen ay mbir.
non jox nañ NIA doole boo xam ne mën nañoo gestu mbir yoo xam ne laal na nit ñi nga xam ne ñoo dëkk ci réew mi. Those were the extent of the powers. Say, for instance, they can look into matters that affected the economic interests of residents in the country. Residents in the country is the word that was used generally in the legislation throughout. Do you agree with that?
We were talking about the character of the or the personality of the president.
Don't waxtaan ak lu jëm ci jikkoy président bi Yaya Jammeh.
If you correlate the functions as a tool of the NIA or whatever, everything was centered around Yaya Jammeh.
So in effect, are you suggesting therefore that interest of the state of the Gambia or other residents in the country, that phrase, other residents in the country, could have been equated or synonymous to Yaya Jammeh?
That's what I'm coming to say.
He
was egocentric to a level whereby the security threat to the security of the state was threat to his life, threat to him, threat to his family.
Somebody once wrote that Yaya Jammeh's thinking is my Gambia, my country, my people, my farm, my this, everything was my. he owned us all and the country. Was it like that? Did you see it that way?
Yeah, jama xalaatam yeb moy suma rew suma nit ñi suma nangam lu ci nek rek daf ko momale won bopam ndax yow gisee nga ko nonu.
I told lead counsel.
Wax na lead counsel ne
he thought about this fear phenomenon upon the civil service or armed and security forces.
So
as to subjugate them.
Fear
make them obey his orders. All times. All purposes. We've come back to the same thing. My this, my that, my that. I said he was egocentric.
May
I give you an example?
Yes, please.
A former ambassador of the United States to the Gambia, Pamela Ann White,
ambassador America Gambia, Pamela Ann White,
requested to pay me a courtesy call in my office. I directed her to write the necessary note verbal to Foreign Affairs and they will forward it to President's office.
Foreign Affairs office of the President.
And naturally Foreign Affairs President's office would forward it to me. When the note came, he saw it. He approved, of course. But with a note, footnote, that the SG should be present at the meeting.
I
said, okay. The lady came. I invited my deputy. Invited my principal assistant secretary to take notes. And the SG sent a representative. After the normal diplomatic niceties, we went into business. She proposed assistance, of course, training packages and all that stuff to us. And we thanked her for American assistance and cooperation. Our joint fight against anti-terrorism, human trafficking, money laundering, and all that stuff.
Terrorism,
and she was full of praise for young technocrats within the system. She promised further aid. She said it was time to continue working. Let's ignore the man's misbehaviors, and just concentrate on the job. We agreed and the meeting went well, fine. And I am obliged to write a minute describing the meeting, what happened, and I sent it upstairs.
Where was upstairs?
His office, to the President's office through the office of the Secretary General. When his minute came down, he said,
what did he say?
I'm coming. He said, I will not forget that. The permanent secretary, rather than talk about our successes in infrastructure and other things, opened his big mouth praising the Americans. I threw the file to my deputy as a reader. yow da nga expect man ma nekk Jaliba Yaya Jammeh ci jigéen bi.
You expect me to become Yaya Jammeh's Jaliba to
man
this
maa
woman?
toog di wax jaloore Yaya Jammeh ci jigéen bi loolu moo
Am I the one who should tell the Yaya Jammeh's history to this woman?
I told my deputy.
Ma wax ko suma deputy bi.
That's how he thinks.
Moom noonu la dee xalaatee.
It's all about himself.
So I was supposed to have... Pardon. What?
It was all about himself.
Yeah.
Wow.
You had to sing his praises instead of anything else.
Here we were talking about concrete things for the benefit of the country.
But you had to, of course, emphasize he was Babili Mansa. He had done a lot of infrastructural development in the country. That's what was his expectation, wasn't it? But the civil service were all basically reduced into sycophancy. All of them praised him everywhere they went. Wasn't that the norm? Mr. Sambou, I understand you even used to wear the asobi, the Yaya Jammeh asobi.
Sambou, yek na sax ne yow dang dan sol asobi Yaya Jammeh.
You're a civil servant.
Did.
Could you say again?
Everybody did.
And that's your defense?
No.
It was wrong, wasn't it?
Agreed.
Civil servants work for the government. And the government is neutral. It should not be involved in party politics. And I repeat that for good reason. The government of the Gambia is separate and different from the politics of the country. Civil servants must not be involved in the politics of the country. You agree with that?
I do. May I?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yaya Jammeh ordered for these paraphernalia. Caps.
Yaya Jammeh jël na li nga xamantene ne mo nekk doxalin bi nga xamantene mo doon am ci jamono bobu non.
Yaya Jammeh ci bopam mo
bills of these tissues materials to various departments.
Te mom moy indi ay baloti jumtu wa yoyu diko indi ci liggéey kay
free of charge.
Te du ci fayeku dara.
Prior to the arrival of the date of whichever festivity it was. Who am I?
Man may kan.
Not to take the 6 or 10 meters my DG brings to me and said, HE says we should distribute this to everybody. Well,
you could cite the general orders to them.
Yes, at your own peril.
Could you explain what you mean?
You would simply be branded as an anti, as an opposition, as a saboteur, as a subverter, and you go. Send him home. And send him home means once you are out of State House or the gates of the NIA, they are waiting for you.
To take you where?
Where the Akos will say combo left hand. The hotel. No, let's be frank. Apart from that, we've all seen what used to happen in Congo Kinshasa with Mobutu Sese Seko. To go with Air Dema. Everybody will wear all these paraphernalia and be dancing at the airports and everything. This is the norm in Africa. It's African democracy. It's bad. We know. It's wrong.
It is Gambian tragedy. This is what we are talking about.
Accepted. Accepted.
Civil servants were paraded in airports dressed in Jame Asobi.
But lead council.
Why lead council?
I beg. Apart from agriculture in this country, the government is this, and the civil service is the biggest employer. Every senior civil servant has about 20 mouths to feed in his house. Top of the village.
Civil servant
Who would risk losing his job?
You have
an 80-year-old mom in the house. Nieces and nephews are waiting for their school fees.
So people had to comply.
If there were a choice, lead council, you would do it.
And just to save our jobs, I am saying our because I'm including all of us in it. To save our jobs, we had to accommodate Yaya Jammeh to be a dictator.
What
do you say to that?
That's true.
The
Olaf said that the king is not bad, it's the followers.
The same, all of us, the same like we are saying. Are the same people mingling among ourselves and then go behind each other's backs and go and tell him stories and he starts sucking this one. That's why he used to say what goes around comes around. You remember what he was?
And principally the NIA, which was the instrument that drove fear in the hearts of Gambians.
Wow.
And the first test, or rather the second test to Yaya Jammeh's authority was the attacks at Farafenni barracks.
Do
you recall that incident?
It's been a long time, but I can faintly remember after the...
Well, we will help you remember. Farafenni military barracks was attacked by dissidents from Liberia, ostensibly under the direction of Kukoy Samba Sanyang. That attack on our security forces culminated into the killing of a few Gambian soldiers. I should say many, in view of the size of our armed forces. Some put the number at 8 soldiers were killed at Farafenni. And some of those attackers were captured. Balo Kante, Yaya Drame, Omar Diouf was it Damfa, I think, Omar Diouf Damfa. Those were captured, I think Suleiman Sarr as well. Yes. They committed the crime of very serious crimes against the state. And we all condemn that attack. You recall that incident? Criminal as had rights that were enshrined under the Constitution of the Republic. You agree with that?
I do.
And no matter what they did, they ought to have been processed according to law. You agree?
I agree. They were brutally tortured.
Tortured by who?
Well, you had some soldiers were there. But they were in the then investigation department of the
Who did the torturing?
well, assistants. Lamin Jobate was there. Was responsible for prosecution matters. Baba Saho was also there. And a few young boys. I wouldn't remember who. Not unless maybe the list is.
These were members of the investigations unit. The question is, who did the torturing? Or ñan ñoo def the torturing?
Those that I named, investigation department, and there was torture, then they were the one?
Mr. Sambou, we are not going to put it like that.
Mr. Sambou,
we have to call a spade a spade. Yax bi mom nañ ko toj.
Okay, let's break it.
Let's hit the nail on the head and stop beating about the bush.
I won't.
You were there as de facto Deputy Director General, correct?
Indeed.
Director General
ki topon ci Director General.
Indeed.
Wow, degala.
You saw what was happening.
I once went there and I saw it.
Not just once, you've been there several times and then you saw what was going on.
If at all it's 2 or 3, it's several, then it's several.
Well, so there may be am ñetta kañ passing a couple.
Wow, dégg
D'accord. So you saw what was going on?
I did.
These people were tortured by your colleagues?
Indeed.
Wow.
Who are they?
For the body, as I said.
For the body, comme ni mako waxe.
Baba Saho.
Baba Saho.
Bate.
Jobate.
Which Jobate?
Lamin.
Lamin.
Otherwise known by what other name?
Babanding.
Babanding, lañ ko gëna xamé.
And I think you mentioned another name. I can't remember. I wouldn't remember everybody.
Duma mëna fatale ko ñep.
But the question is, was he there?
He was.
Wow,
did he participate in the tortures?
It's been a long time. I wouldn't know, but I presume yes.
You presume or you believe?
Yes, I believe.
How about
if the others tortured? I don't see any reason why he wouldn't.
Tell us a bit about those tortures. What you saw, Balo Kante, Yaya Drame, Omar Diouf Damfa, and all this.
Linga gis Mbalo Kante,
Suleiman Sarr,
Omar Diouf Dramé, Suleiman Sarr.
Omar Diouf Damfa, Suleiman.
Omar Diouf Damfa and Suleiman Sarr.
I heard Mbalo Kante saying that they were severely beaten.
Dégg naa Mbalo Kante di wax ne dañ leen dóor yu métti métti.
In fact, he also said that his nipple was cut off.
Moom sax dal dina wax tamit ne dal dina ñu dog li ni am.
Kante say.
Linga dégg Mbalo Kante wax ko.
Did you notice any lie? He said.
Ndax seetlu nga ci kàddu yim fi wax yépp ndax am na ci dara lu mu wax te doonu dëgg.
I would have said he lied about me, but during my reminded me, and I agreed with lead counsel. Yes.
Ci biñ waxee nag ci la ma fàttali ne loolu ci laa nangu ne waaw dëgg la.
I definitely, he refreshed my mind and I agree.
Ci la beesalaat suma xel nag ci laa nangu.
So you are
lead counsel in his office.
Comme ni ma ko waxee lead counsel ci office am.
It knows it.
Ki nga xam ne ni moo jàkkaarloo mbir mi moo ko xam.
Moo xamoon méttitam.
Moom moo xamoon méttitam. He knows what pains him, so whatever he said is true. I will not deny it.
And you did not say or do anything to stop it.
Mbalo Kante wax na ne yow da nga dugg si fekk moom ak ñeneen ñu ngi leen di mitital di leen mbugal waaye yow waxuloo ci dara pour tere leen.
Yes, it is in the allegation on the notice of
adverse mention.
Waaw comme mu ngi ci tuuma yi nga xam ne moom lañ yombali wax.
Not to incriminate yourself, we remind you of that fact. And what is your answer to this allegation that you are there? You are Deputy Director General of the de facto Deputy Director General of the NIA. You saw them being tortured. You did or say nothing to stop it.
There, I didn't do anything. It is in my statement.
Defuma dara de mu ngi ci suma bind. Ma dem ci kaw.
I did not do anything.
Foofu nag defuma fa dara.
But I went upstairs.
Waaye dama dem ci kaw.
Call the attention of the boss.
Ma daldi waxtaan ak ki nga xam ne ni mooy kilifa gi.
Those down there,
ñi nga xam ne ñoo nekk ci suuf.
were not under me.
Nekkuñ ci suma ron.
We are under the big boss, Sambou.
Ñoom ñu ngi ci ron kilifa gu mag gi Sambou.
When I called his attention,
bi nga xamee nag oo naa ko waxal ko.
He looked at me.
That some of these witnesses seem to suggest that whenever you go there, the torture against them seem to intensify.
ñi nga xam ne yëpp ñoo fi joxe seen seede liñ fi wax loo am pour wax ci loolu.
That's the 5th issue on the adverse mention.
Loolu nag mooy juróomeeli bunta boo xam ne ñu ngi ko ci tudda.
Even for Mbalo Kante and others, that is the suggestion.
Pour mbiri Mbalo Kante sax ak ñeneen.
In fact, they suggested a little more than that, and I'm building up. I'm giving you the opportunity to respond to these things. And
ndax xam sax wax nañ fa lu ëpp loolu waaye dama la bëgg a jox rek pour ngay tontu benn benn.
Kante
have the right to feel.
am nañ cër pour
say what they said.
pour li wax li nga xam ne loolu la ñuy wax.
Because they were at that time.
Jamono boobu.
In a very difficult situation.
yoon ci jamono bu jafe.
Like I said, who feels it knows it.
Comme ni ma ko waxee rek ki nga xam ne moo ko yëg moo ko xam.
But I was not supposed to be there and give command to the boys down there.
waaye nag waru moon a nekk ci suuf pour joxe ndigal ñi boys yi nekk ci suuf.
I told Sambou.
ci laa dem ma wax Sambou. ak dafa desoon ci moom rek pour mu jël ay dogal.
As to what I raised or as to the.
ci li nga xam ne nii moom laa ko wax.
Because he was the boss.
ndax jamono jooju moom moo nekkoon kilifa gu mag gi.
But Omar Diouf seems to suggest that you were complicit in their torture.
waaye Omar Diouf moom wax na ne yow bokkoon nga sax àndoon nga ci mitital bi nga xam ne moom lañ leen doon def.
I have just said that he has a right to his opinion.
waaw comme ni ma waxee rek
it's either subjective or objective.
nekk na koo xam ne nii am na cër ci li nga xam ne ni loolu mooy xalaatam ak li muy wax.
on the perspective of the individual.
des na rek ci li nga xam ne noonu la ko waxee moo xam nag.
The information the commission received is that whenever you show up in the torture room, you would say, "Na saf de, na safa saf."
xibaar nga xam ne moom la fi commission bi jot mooy ñi fi wax nañ ne yow daal saa yu ñu leen di mbugal di leen mitital boo duggasee daal dangay ne na safa saf rek.
Those that knows Harry Sambou know that he is not that type of person.
We have seen quite a lot of characters before this TRRC. Did you or did you not say that?
I don't think I said it. No, I didn't. I don't want to tell a lie. I don't think I did that.
It means you are not sure whether you did or did not.
I would prefer to differ.
That is
to differ. D-I-F-F-E-R, not D-E-F-E-R.
Okay.
I cannot defer the answer.
Well, to defer it means to push it aside, not to deal with it now. So to differ means to not agree.
Yes.
All right. So you do not agree.
I do not agree.
Well, what don't you agree with? The question is, you said that you're not quite sure. I can't recall the exact words you said, I think not. I think those were the words you used.
At the end of the sentence.
So because you think not.
At the end of the sentence, late counsel, I said no.
But no matter how it is packaged, it suggests that you are not sure.
But I've just said no, I don't agree.
What don't you agree with?
I have just told you that the Harry Sambou I know is not like that.
Well, we all thought that the people who were recruited in our National Intelligence Agency who are not like that. Answer now.
Yes, I know.
So we all thought that they were very decent people who would respect the rights of Gambians. We all thought that those who were doing the torturing of Gambians were foreigners. Lo and behold, these are our own brothers who are torturing us.
People have different backgrounds. Different levels of home education.
But you would agree that it is really disappointing and abhorrent that it was us who were torturing one another.
Do
you answer now?
I said agreed.
Yes, the thing is, if you answer out of turn, it's not reflected, because I am watching the screen as we go ahead, so sometimes if you answer out of turn, it's not recorded.
I agree.
So the fact that you say the Harry Sambou I know would not do this is in fact not good evidence before this commission. Because the people we expected or we thought were doing the tortures were in fact the people who we least expected would do it. If you look at it, amongst the torturers you have mentioned, let's take them again, name them one by one. First person. Second person.
Baba Saho.
Third person.
Lamin Jobate.
Fourth person.
Talmina Drame.
You have a similar background to Baba Dinding Jobate. Legal training, social welfare, NIA. You have just implicated him in torture.
I have mentioned home training.
Man yaref la fi wax.
You didn't mention that one.
Home training is not verified.
It's okay.
But you can see that even people with the highest level of education, and we would expect decency, you have implicated them in torture.
Diga gis na sax ñi nga xamne am na njàng xam-xam bu kawe ñooñu sentu nañu woon ci ñoom ay yiw boo xam ne moom lañ waroon a jëfe waaye tudda nga leen fii ci ñi doon def metital yooyu.
One, I am not the only one who implicated them. I'm not the first one to have done so.
Man rek maa leen tudda dugal leen.
Of course, we take note of that.
Waaw loolu kay bàyyi nañ ko xel.
You are corroborating the allegations of other people.
Yow da nga déggal rek tuuma yi nga xam ne moom la fi ñeneen ñi wax.
Just like others are corroborating the allegations of others against me.
Comme ni ñeneen ñi tamit di déggalee yenn tuuma yi nga xam ne moom lañ ma teg.
It therefore behoves you to accept the veracity of the allegations against you.
Kaw loolu nag moo tax nag mu war la pour nga nangu li nga xam ne mooy tuuma yi nga xam ne moom lañ la teg.
That is why I said it's a long time, I don't remember.
Loolu moo tax may la bu yàgg la fàttale ko tuma ko.
But isn't this convenient, Mr. Sambou?
I don't agree with him.
Isn't this convenient? You are very able to recollect and corroborate the torture or the allegations of torture by your colleagues, but you cannot remember to accept the areas in which you are implicated in that torture. You choose to think not. You choose not to remember.
I have personally never tortured anybody.
That is a given. The allegation is not that you tortured. We do not have any such evidence. And we apologize if you think that that is the kind of suggestion we are making. But the evidence is you have encouraged, you have encourage the torturers to do it harder.
That's what he said.
Yes, that's what he said. And he who feels it knows it.
Yes. I wouldn't agree with him on that.
But this is the issue here. You are able to recall quite vividly when your colleagues did the torture, but you cannot recollect when you encourage those same colleagues to do the torture. It's like self-preservation.
Wali dafa mel ni da nga tànn daal mun ngaa fàttaliku say naataango ñoom mbugal ak mitital yi nga xam ne ñu ngi ko doon teg ñeneen waaye yow mënuloo fàttaliku yow mi sa bopp fekkee nga ko ak la nga xam ne moom nga ci def pour hittal leen ñu gën koo def mel ni da nga tànn li nga fàttaliku.
No, I wouldn't want to self-preserve myself.
But no matter, well, perhaps maybe I should just read out the law at this stage. The law for amnesty.
Lead counsel, let's draw a conclusion to this.
I'm listening. Please proceed.
If this is the situation, yes.
Not so simple.
Yes, okay, yes.
We are out for the truth.
Yes.
We are not out to get convenient
truth.
No. Convenient arrangements because of the situation. Okay. So that is why I am not prepared to trade certain agreements with the search for the truth. Are you accepting responsibility for these tortures, that you are accused to have been complicit in these tortures as somebody who encouraged the torture. Is that what you are accepting?
Ndax yow nangu bi nga nangu ni moy ne nangu nga ne yow fekke nga mitital yoy ñuy def ba pare yang doon hirtal ñi nga xamne ñoon ko doon def anda ci ak ñoom pour ñu gën ko yokka.
Or as the deputy director who was there went and saw witnessed.
Deputy director
these are two things. These are two different strands of responsibility. One is superior responsibility, being Deputy Director General, seeing it happen, you know a crime was being committed, and you did or said nothing to stop, to prevent it.
Yes. Later I did.
But even when you did later, the tortures didn't stop, they continued. So this first limb, that is responsibility as a superior. Or as a commander, because the NIA had a command structure. So do you agree responsibility on that limb?
I do.
Wow, definitely.
And the other limb for responsibility is you encouraging the torture. One of the victims said that whenever you come, the tortures intensify because you would say, nasaf de, nage nasaf.
Sa yo duga se rek mitit bi dafa gëna tar ndax dang leen di wax ne ñu yokka mitit bi na saf mu gëna safa saf.
Do you deny that?
Weddi nga lolu.
Or do you accept it?
Ndax nangu nga.
Difficult to
dana jafe pour
the commission will have had your answer, and the commission would draw whatever conclusions that is to be drawn in this.
I hope so, but I agree.
Mr. Chair, may I proceed? You satisfied with that answer? Thank you. Perhaps maybe, well, it's 18 minutes past. Mr. Sambou, you want to say something?
No, I was just suggesting that we can continue till 5.
But let's leave it to the commissioners to decide. Yes.
Please proceed.
Up to what time do I have?
7 p.m.
Well, I'll be happy to go till 7 p.m., Mr. Chair.
Please go on a little bit more.
Your executive secretary is suggesting 5 p.m.
Let's go on.
All right, okay, we proceed. I would stop when the chair asks.
Thank you. Yeah. Go on, please.
All right, thank you. These people were not, we talked about the methods of torture that was used on them. Apart from the beating, could you recollect what other methods of torture was used on them?
I heard Balo talking about
the plastics.
What plastic you look more than?
She said they were being burnt on them.
Do you recollect seeing this happen or learning about this happening to them?
Yes, I was aware.
Balo was Balo truthful?
Yes, in that sense, yes.
In the real sense, was he truthful?
Yes. He was.
He also talked about electrocution. As far as you know, who did these tortures? The burning with plastic and the electrocution?
I think what I heard Balo said. Fode and Baba.
Now let us not talk about what you heard from the victim. Let's talk about what you know to have happened as de facto Director General
comme ka yaa nekkoon ki toppa ci directeur général bi loo xam ci mbir moomu.
Who was doing the tortures?
ñan ñoo doon def mitital.
Those tortures, the electrocution and the burning with liquid plastic.
mitital yooyu ñan ñoo ko doon def di sokkuraan yi ci seen kaw ak di jël lakka mbuusi di leen ko toxal.
I think I presume the same guys that we mentioned, the same Baba, the same Masanmina, the same
Baba,
Jim, the same.
Jim.
Who else? Yes.
Let's take it step by step. Nailera. Mention the names. Number 1.
Baba Saho.
Jobari.
Fode Bari. Jobate. Salmina. Jim.
So, Salmina, what's his last name?
I think also Drame.
Jim Mani, Fogna Moy Drame.
Baba, what's his last name?
Saho.
Saho.
Lamin, what's his last name?
Jobate.
Jobate.
And Fode, what's his last name?
Bari.
These were the people who were doing those tortures. You mentioned that you talked to Sambou.
Yes, I did.
About the tortures. Where is Sambou now?
Ana Sambou.
He's late, he's deceased.
Against these tortures.
Am nga keneen ku mëna wéral sa kàddu yi nga wax ne wax nga director general bi lu aju ci mitital yi nga xam ne moom la fa doon def.
No, I don't, because my discussions with Sambou were private. He was my boss, and when I go into his office, I knock, I enter, he closes the door.
Déedéet amuma ko
and I leave.
da suma waxtaan ak Samba Ba yëpp mooy suma boss la dafa nekk loo xam ne man ak moom rek la su ñëwee mu tëj bunta bi ñu waxtaan ma génn.
In essence, the only person who would have corroborated your defense that you objected to this is someone who is normal.
Yes.
Melni da kenn ka am ne moo mun a wéral sa kàddu yooyu rek nit la koo xam ne léegi ndam si yàlla la dundatul.
But nonetheless, you accept responsibilities on 2 limbs of responsibility. One is superior responsibility, the other is encouragement.
I do.
waaye ba léegi nangu nga daal ne li nga xam ne moom lañ la teg ne moom nga def nangu nga ko ci ñaari fànn yépp yow kilifa nga nekk fa ba pare nekk nga koo xam ne ànd nga ci liñ doon def.
Could you respond now?
I said I do.
Wow, left nanguna.
Okay, let's then move on to this for a little while. There were soldiers who were also present at some point during these tortures.
Amoon na ay soldaar yoo xam ne léeg-léeg jamono joo xam ne dina ñuy fekkee mbugal yi nga xam ne moom la ñoo teg nit ñi foofu.
Do you recall?
Fàttale ko nga.
Yes, Samsudin Sar was mentioned.
Wow, Samsudin Sar tudde nañ ko ci.
Do you recall?
They were first brought in from Farafenni.
Jamono bi nga xam ne ci lañ indi rebel yi ci njëlbeen ci place bi.
All came down to see who they were.
ñëpp dañ ñëw pour seet ñan lañ.
And at that stage, these guys were being tortured.
Te jamono boobu ñooñu ñu ngi leen doon mbugal di leen mitital.
Correct?
Dëgg la.
Confirmed.
Dëgg la.
You answering out of turn.
They confirmed.
Because this is a record.
Yes, they confirmed.
So these people were present, Samsudin Sar and others were present while these rebels were being tortured.
Samsudin Sar ak ñee ñu nga teewoon jamono yi nga xam ne ñu ngi doon mitital rebel yi foofu.
Yes.
Wow.
Good. Do you know whether any one of those soldiers participated in the torture in one way or another?
Ndax xam nga ndax kenn ci soldaar yooyu bokkoon nañ ci mitital yi nga xam ne moom lañ fa doon teg ñooñu ci nu mun a demee.
Sar did.
Could you say again?
I said I think Sar did.
waaw yaakaar naa Sar def na ko.
What do you recall him do?
waaw fàttale ko lan la def ndax loolu yàgg na.
Had it not been for Mbalo's accusation of me, I wouldn't have remembered.
su duutoon nag Mbalo li ma tuumaal sax duma ko fàttale ko.
Did you just sort this out of your memory?
Oh, no. Well, I'm reminded. The things are coming back. It's been years.
dañ ma fàttali mu ngi ñëw ndànk da ay at la ci gannaaw.
I have to be frank.
li nga fàttale ko.
Is that Sar participated?
moo ne Sar bokk na ci.
Would you answer now?
Yes.
Wow.
léegi tontu.
what recollection do you have of what he may have done?
Lan nga fàttaliku ci loo xam ne Sarr def na ko?
I don't know. I don't know.
What is your basis for saying that he participated?
It's difficult.
Definitely.
I'm very sorry.
It cannot be just a guesstimate. You must have something in your mind to tell you that this person participated. You must have seen him do something in order to be able to suggest that he participated in torture.
Beating?
Dore?
Did you see him beat?
I
think I did.
You think, you know, you saw.
I wouldn't know without seeing.
Of course.
Yes.
That's why, so when you know, it's not just you think.
You
know. Did Sarr beat one or more of the rebels? Or he did not?
I think he did.
Balo Kante. He said that Samsidine Sarr kicked him with his boots. He stamped. He stamped him. He trampled upon him. He also beat him with his fist. And somebody he could recall as Babukar Jata grabbed him and stopped him. Is Balo Kante lying?
I don't think so.
Is Balo Kante nuanced, Mr. Sambou? It's very well nuanced. With all those qualifications, what is the truth? No, wahji lerut nañ. Amna garal yuñ ci garal yo xamne dafa tax nit ki du xam liñ ci jublu lepp lan la. Nañ ko leral bem leer nañ. Comme ni olof di wax rek ñu toj yax bi su ko defé feñal lepp. Balo Kante lim wax dëgg la ndax du dëgg?
Wana dëgg.
He said the truth.
Could you answer now?
Wana dëgg.
Yes, it's true.
Thank you very much. Now, let us move to, perhaps a little. What was happening there? You are trained in the law, Mr. Sambou. What was happening there with these these rebels who unlawfully killed some Gambian soldiers?
Mr. Sambou, yow jàng nga loi lan mooy li nga xam ne moo daru ci loi?
Was what was the or were the acts happening at the NIA at that time lawful? Why do you say that?
Lu tax nga wax loolu?
In State Council's introduction of this issue.
State Council
Constitution.
Which means
they had rights.
And
they could have been respected.
Could have been or ought to have been.
Yes.
They ought to have been
respected. But we are not respected.
And do you know that Yaya Drame died as a result of the severe beating he received at the NIA?
ndax xam nga ne Yaya Drame faatoom mu ngi soso ci miti dóor yu métti yi nga xam ne moom lañ ko def foofu.
May I please ask where he died? In the hospital, in mile 2, at the NIA?
And
when, after which time did he pass away?
He died in mile 2.
Mile 2 la dee.
Soon afterwards.
Can council please let me know how many days, what time, the length of time?
I don't know exactly the date, but here I have a human rights a report on, I think it's by Amnesty International.
Xawma bés bi nag waaye am na xibaar boo xam ne bàyyeekoo na ci amee ak yelleefi doomu aadama yaakaar naa ba tey
of 2nd December 1997.
ñu ngi ko bindoon ñaari fan December 1997.
And it's entitled
te liñ ci wax mooy
The Gambia
Gambia
Democratic Reforms Without Human Rights.
wécceeku ci wàllu doxin démocratie te àndaleguñ ko ak yelleefi doomu aadama.
And I'm looking on page 4 of the report. It talks about human rights violations since the elections. And in paragraph 3 of the report, it says in May 1997, one person died in custody, apparently as a result of torture. Yaya Drame had been held at Banjul's Mile 2 prison since an attack by armed men on the Gambia's second largest military camp at Farafenye, some 100 kilometers east of Banjul, in November 1996. Conga bo xamne defon nañ ko ci ñaareeli béréb bo xamne dëkk bu màggal ci Gambia mu xewon ci atum 19. He was under constant medical care when he died in May. Mom nak ci lon faj go xamne mom lañ ko doon faj bu tar bo xamne ñu ko doon fajé jamono bi mo faatu. So he died a few months thereafter. Dafa melni ay wër yu néew dal gannaaw ci la gaañu. Are you aware of this? I
heard about one of them who died. I don't know who it was.
Would you say that the torturers are responsible for manslaughter?
Ndax di nga mëna wax ne ñi nga xamne ñoo doon def mitital yoyu ñoom ñoo waral faatu gi.
Lead counsel, I'm not a common law lawyer.
Lead counsel, manekuma ab lawyer.
I have a background in law, which is non-common law.
Well, you did not ask me time just in the blue. You asked me about the time frame within which the person died, because you are recalling from the law that you learned that for there to be a case of murder, the person has to have died within 1 year of the act that caused death.
Waling ma laaj ñoonu nak ne ban waxtu digante mitital gi ak ba mo dé diir bi ñaata la toll laajuloo ma ko rek sa xalaati bopp dang ma ko laaj di xam nga ne loi bi bala nangu ne loolu mooy sabab bi na nekk ne borom dafa war a faatu ci diiri benn at bi. loolu tax
su ko defee ñu mun a wax ne daf ko rey ci anam bu ñuy ooyee mooda mooy nga faat nit ki fekk nga bugg koo faat nga bugg a jël bakkanam.
Isn't lead counsel pushing it down my throat?
Lead counsel ni nga koy jàllale si suma
Lord thing.
I don't want to put it through your throat. I am just throwing a proposition. It's for you to accept or deny the proposition. You, of course, know what is the crime of murder. In this particular case, I say at least, at minimum, it's a case of manslaughter. You agree?
Nangonga.
Please proceed, Mr. Sam.
Yes, I do.
Wow, nanguna.
You agree that this is a case of manslaughter?
Yes.
Wow.
Could you answer now, please?
I said yes.
Could you answer again?
I said yes.
Mane wow.
Thank you very much. So now let's, Mr. Chair, perhaps I would at some stage put in this document, the Amnesty International document I'm referring to.
I thought it was Amnesty, not the report, or?
Not this Amnesty report.
Okay, there was
yes, there are several, because these are annual reports.
Fine.
All right. Okay, so I now have to put in 2 documents, but I will do that at the end.
Sure. And you have maybe now 5-10 minutes to wind up if you want to.
5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, now.
Bugal ak mitital yo xam ne ñu ko doon def lolu mom luñ aada wo daan def la rek ci NIA.
Yes, I do.
Wow, nanguna.
Why do you think that these tortures were taking place?
Lan moo tax nga foog ne mbugal ak mitital yi sax ñu ko daan def foofu?
Please come again.
Why do you think these tortures were taking place? What was the objective? What was the reason, the ratio d'etre for these tortures?
Lan moo woon jubluwaay bi tax ñu daan jël mitital yi di ko teg nit ñi foofu ca NIA?
Like I said,
comme ni ma ko waxee,
and
Tate.
Are you suggesting he was a sadist?
I'm coming. He enjoyed seeing people suffer.
Dan bànneexu pour yaan gis nit ñi di torox.
And begging him or pleading with him,
wala di ko ñaan di jégalu ci moom.
He deducted as a sign of weakness.
Dafay gis ne loolu daal ak yoo xam la.
And he hardly believed anybody, trusted anybody.
Te du daan óolu kenn.
Even if you bring somebody to him and say, well, we've spoken to the person, yes.
Même sa soo indi nit ne ko kii wax nañoo ak moom.
Admitted.
Mu nangu.
He would say no.
Dana wax ne déedéet.
He doesn't believe.
Gëmut ko. Ni yaakaar ne mooy pour nga def nit ki mu wax mooy dangay génne dëgg ci moom.
So
we missed something.
You would have to extract the truth from the person.
Foog seen nga génne dëgg ci waaj ci moom.
Extraction.
Ci forcé.
Was in place of.
In choice of words, Mr. Sambou.
Ay ni nga tànnee sa ay kàddu Mr. Sambou.
Extraction.
Yes.
Mooy pour génne ci moom.
Instead of obtaining,
yes.
or abstention.
Am ci moom.
Yes.
dang ko wax ci benen anam làkka.
They extorted confessions out of people instead of obtaining confessions.
That is true. Let me please let's replace the extraction with extortion. Yes, because like I said, the boss did not accept. He could not accept persuasion. He thought everybody there should be a show of power. So that he was the one up there, one, and two. The person had to be, what do I say?
Maltreated, yes, brutalized,
yes,
bullied.
In order to go and face him with a file and say, sir, we have spoken to the guy, he has voluntarily written his statement, and this is, he wouldn't listen to that. In fact, you would think that you have come there to, not only to beg for the person, but maybe you know him or you are negotiating. And he would say, you want to replace him? Give him VIP treatment. That culture develops, metamorphosed, in order to harden not only the agents or the, but to make everybody feel once you are in there.
Strong words again. Metamorphosed.
Metamorphosed.
And made these agents hardened. These are your words.
Yeah, my words.
So the culture or torture became a policy of the NIA in order to secure information that Yaya Jammeh wanted from those who threatened his authority. Would you agree with that?
Dafa melni mbugal ak mitital lool aada la boo xam ne rek daf daan dox NIA pour mun a jëlee ci ñoom Yaya Jammeh li nga xam ne moom la soxla ci ay nit ñoo xam ne dañ xeeb li nga xam ne moo di ay kàddoom.
Yaya Jammeh would give personal orders.
Yaya Jammeh daf di joxe ndigali boppam.
And he would follow up on each individual case.
Ci case bu wax bu nekk.
Orders like what?
The VIP treatment.
VIP treatment.
What is VIP treatment? What does it mean?
And the tortures.
So you're saying Yaya Jammeh would personally give these orders? Would you answer now?
Yes.
Wow.
Have you ever had personal first-hand knowledge of Yaya Jammeh ordering torture?
Yow ndax mus nga gis yow sa bopay sa wàlli xam-xam Yaya Jammeh di joxe ndigal yi pour ñu def ay mitital ci kaw ñoom.
I have not, but I know it has happened.
Mosuma ko fekke waaye nag am naa ne dana daan am.
Now let us deal with 2006.
Léegi nag ñu jëm ci mbiri atum 2006.
On 20 March 2006, you are Director of Operations at the IEC.
Ñaar fukki fan ci atum 2006 weeri March yaa nekkoon Director Operations ci IEC.
By 22nd March 2006, you became new Director General of the NIA.
Ñaar fukki fan ak ñaar weeri March 2006 nga ñëw nekk Director General bu bees bi ci NIA.
Tell us what happened.
Wax ñu lu xew.
How it happened.
Naka la xewee.
I was Director of Operations at the IEC preparing for the budget for the forthcoming elections in September.
Saytu lu jëm ci wàlli doxalini Independent Electoral Commission di muntu liggéeykaay bi saytu mbiri atte bi di waajal nag lu jëm ci njëliñ dog ci mbiri wote bi dégmal si.
And I got a telephone call from State House to go and answer.
Ma am telephone call bu jógee ko ci State House ne ma dem uyu ji.
So I went.
Ma dem.
And was summoned to the Secretary General's office.
Ñu daldi ma yóbbu na ci office Secretary General bi.
At the time it was Mamburi Njai.
time boobu Mame Bouré Ndiaye la.
And he sat me down and said, wait for me.
Mu tooga mu teg ma mu ne ma xaar ma.
Came in and out, and said, come.
Mu dugg ak génn fa bu jegi mu ne ma kaay ma dugg ci office am.
That I have orders for you.
Ci la ma wax ne am naa ndigal ci pour yow.
Orders, he said, yes. I said, what orders?
Ndigal bu mel naka.
Said, HE has instructed that you go and take over.
Mu ne His Excellency President bi joxe na ndigal nga dem jël NIA. Ma ne ko lan.
Yes, sir. Sit down and wait for your letter.
Mu ne ma tooga nga xaar sa letter bi.
So I sat.
Who was he referring to as HE?
His Excellency Yaya Jammeh. Then.
Yaya Jammeh booba.
So I sat down.
Ma toog.
After some time, my letter came.
Loolu nag suma letter bi aksi.
What did the letter say?
Letter of appointment is acting appointment.
Letter boo xam ne nii mooy ne tànn nañ ma ci maqaama mi.
Take over as acting Director General of the NIA with immediate effect.
Pour ma nekk nag di xantu ni ci boppi NIA ci ni mu gën a gaawee.
And this would be your second coming.
Second.
Bi mo ñaareelu yoon nga ñëw fa.
Second.
Ñaareel bi waaw.
So I went and reported to the chairman IEC.
Laa dem nag
this is the letter.
wan ko kii borom kër yi buntu liggéeykaay Independent Electoral Commission ne ko li mooy letter bi.
What do we do? I said, I don't know.
Mu ne ma léegi nag lu ñuy def ma ne ko xaw ma.
So I started.
Who was the Director General at the IEC at the time?
The chairman.
Kan moo nekkoon
Chairman, I meant to say.
Late Ndondi Njai.
Late Ndondi Njai ndem si Yàlla Ndondi Njai.
So I shuttled for about 2 weeks between IEC and the NIA.
Ci diggante boobu nag maa jaabante lu dem si ñaari bés yooyu diggante IEC
until I finally resigned from the
ba mujjantal daal ma noppal suma bopp liggéey ci IEC.
And took over at the NIA.
Ma daal di jël nag NIA.
Something must have precipitated this move, your sudden appointment as Director General.
Yes.
At the NIA.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
I was informed there and then that there was an abortive coup.
And amna coup d'état bo xamne modon am way fanka nañ ko.
And the then Director General Marena was involved.
Te boba ki nga xamne moko jité won di Marena daf ci bokkon.
And he was removed.
Te génné nañ ko fa.
That's all.
Lola.
Were you given any particular tasks? Any particular directives?
Yes.
Amna ben sas buñ la waxon ne lool nga wara jaar.
Yes.
Wow.
Tell us.
A panel of investigation was supposed to have been formed.
Dañ warona sos nak genn kurel go xamne ni ay gestukat lañu.
To interview
di laajte
all those
arrested
and detained
in
connection with the abortive coup.
And who were to be members of the panel?
Officers from various armed and security forces formed a panel.
Who selected the members?
I think Lang Tombong did in collaboration with the president then. Lang Tombong Tamba, then Chief of Defense Staff.
President bi nga xamne jamono bo mo jité soldat yi réew mi.
How do you know that?
Naka nga ko xamé?
He came to tell me.
Momako wax.
Who told you?
Lang Tombong.
Lang Tombong.
So Lang Tombong Tamba and the president set up, basically, they chose the members of the panel.
Legi Lang Tombong Tamba ak president bi ñom ñoo tan ñi nga xamne ñoo wara bokk ci kuréel kilifa yoy nonu.
Yes. Well, you are to be the head of the NIA.
Yow ya nekkon jité ki nga xamne mo jité NIA.
Was the NIA represented in the panel?
Ndax NIA amna ku len téwal ci kuréel go.
Wow.
Yes.
Who was the person?
Kan la won?
The Deputy Director General Mamadou Haidara.
ki toppoon ci ki jiite NIA Mamadou Haidara.
How was he selected to be in the panel?
Naka lañ tànnee Mamadou Haidara moom pour mu bokk ci kuréel googu.
He was nominated by the then CDS Langtombong Tamba.
Kii di CDS Langtombong Tamba moo ko tànnoon.
As the new Director General of NIA, did you have to approve that appointment?
Comme que yow yaa nekkoon Director General bu bees bi ci NIA ndax tànn boobu ñu ko tànn yow danga ko waroon a nangu pour ñu tànn ko ci.
No, I did not have to approve.
Déedéet waruma woon koo wiral wala nangu.
Orders came from above.
Ndax ndigal bi mu ngi jógee ko ci kaw.
What was to be the role of the NIA, or your role as Director General? What was to be your role in this investigation panel?
Ci kuréel googu nga xam ne ñoom lañ tànnoon pour ñu def gëstu boobu yow mi lan moo ciy woon sa cër.
The panel was to have been housed in the premises of the NIA.
Panel bi seen wax liggéey bi yëpp dañ ko waroon a defee ci biir NIA.
Because there was a hall upstairs in the main yard.
Amoon na benn hall bu nekkoon ci kaw.
That was like a conference room.
Boo xam ne ni mu ngi mel ni conference room.
And it had enough space.
Am na nag place bu doy. Jotaay boobu nag nañ ko defee ci foofu.
And of course by HE you mean?
Yaa Jammeh.
Yaa Jammeh.
Who selected the various first of all, tell us the various components of that panel. You said it was to be comprised with members of various security institutions. Tell us where were they derived from?
Wax ñu kuréel googu noonu ñi nga xam ne ñoo fa teewoon dëgg la wax nga ñu ne ñu ngi leen tànnee ci ay bunti.
Ki ko jiite woon mooy Deputy Director General bu NIA Mamadou Haidara.
Policemen.
Am na ay police.
Members of the military security military intelligence.
ñi nga xam ne ni nekk police soldats yi nga xam ne ni ñoo nekk ci buntu xerewlu ci soldat gi.
Yes.
So you'd have NIA, police and army.
Yes.
Léegi am nga fa NIA am fa police am fa soldat yi.
But of course you all the evidence received by the commission is that this panel comprised of investigators, statement takers, torturers, and recorders of forced confessions. Would you agree?
Xibaar gi ñu fi jot mooy ñi nga xam ne ñoo nekkoon ci panel boobu mooy ñi nga xam ne ñoo doon def mbiri gëstu yi ñi nga xam ne ñoo doon jël xibaar yi ci ñooñu di ko binda ak ñi nga xam ne ñoo doon def mitital yi ak ñi nga xam ne sax ñoo doon jël di ko nataal.
Rightly so.
Waaw noonu la.
You agree that this was the arrangement?
Nangu nga ne noonu lañ ko tëralee woon.
Positive.
Wow.
We have received evidence from Alaji Martin.
Amna xibaar yuñ fi jot yu bàyyeekoo ci Alaji Martin.
To say that
mu ne.
The suspects were brought in.
Ñi nga xam ne ñoom lañ tuumaal noonu dañ leen indi.
They are questioned.
ñu laaj leen.
If they do not answer satisfactorily,
fekkee ne tontu wuñ tontu bi nga xam ne moom lañ bëgg ñu tontu leen.
They are taken out.
dañ leen di génnee.
The junglers would beat the truth out of them.
Jongula si dañ leen dóor pour ñu wax dëgg gi.
Or the confessions out of them.
wala boog ñu wax li nga xam ne moom lañ wax ne loolu lañ def.
They would be brought back before the panel.
ñu delloo si waat leen ci kanami kuréel googu.
They will confess.
du ko defee ñu daal di wax.
And they would be later taken before the cameras of GRTS record their confessions on video.
bu ko defee nag ñu dal di leen jël nag yóbbu leen ci kanami caméra GRTS yi bu ko defee nag ñoom ñu wax li nga xam ne moom lañ wax ne moom lañ def.
Was that the system?
noonu la doon doxee.
It's true, I heard him testifying here.
noonu la dégg naa ko bi muy ñëw fi di gaaral ay kàddoom.
And what is your view about what he said?
yow nag li mu wax noonu naka nga ko gisee.
Would you answer now?
It's true.
dëgg la.
Is that the reason why in your statement you said that evidence was extorted out of these witnesses, or evidence was coerced out of these witnesses and not obtained.
ndax loolu mooy wane ne li nga xam ne mooy kàddu yi seede yooyu doon wax noonu dañ leen doon forcé dugal ko ci ñoom pour mun a am kàddu yi ci ñoom waaye nekkut ne rek kàddu la yoo xam ne dañ ko jëlee noonu rek ci ñoom ñu joxe ko.
nekkut kàddu yoo xam ne ñoo ko waxal seen boppa jëlee ko seen coobare dañ leen ko forcé ba soxi ko ci ñoom dañ leen mbugal bañ wax loolu. Is that the reason why you said that in your statement?
Yes, that is the reason.
Waaw loolu moo tax ma wax ko.
Mr. Chair, one last question before we adjourn for the day. Those who appeared before the commission were tortured to give the confessionary statements that they gave.
Yes.
ñi nga xam ne ñoo feeñ ci kanami commission bi dañ leen mitital pour ñu wax kàddu yi nga xam ne moom lañ joxe foofu.
Panel, they were tortured before they gave the confessionary statements they gave to the panel.
Kanami panel bi.
Yes.
Wow, dëgg la.
Please proceed.
I have written in my statement
bind naa ci suma kàddu yi
that following the establishment of the panel and the bringing in of the detainees to question them,
toftal sos ak panel boobu noonu ak di indi ñi nga xam ne ni ñoom lañ tuumaal.
Initially, it used to be during the day.
ca njëlbeen dañ ko doon def ci bés bi.
And seemingly everything went well during the day.
ci jamono boobu nag lépp daf daan jaar rek yoon ci jamono bés bi.
During working hours.
ci jamono liggéey.
But after working hours, I would go home.
waaye nag gannaaw liggéey dama day ñibbi juróom-ñaari waxtu yi.
Apparently,
ci gannaaw loolu.
detainees were brought in late in the night.
ñu leen daan indi guddi.
By the junglers.
di jongulas yi.
Some in civilian clothes.
ñenn ñi nag ñuy sol civilian clothes yére civil.
Some in their uniform.
ñenn ñi di sol uniform.
I heard some of them were black. That's when I found out who they are.
ñuul kukk lañ daan sol. loolu laa dégg.
And they were maltreated and tortured in the premises of the NIA.
toroxal métital leen ci place NIA bi foofu.
Up to early morning hours.
ba ci jamonoy suba.
And taken back to mile 2.
ñu dal di leen yóbbuwaat mile 2.
I would only know.
fi ma koy xamee rek.
When I came in the morning.
mooy su ma ñëwee si suba gi.
And the security guards will tell me.
ñi garde ci bunta bi ñu wax ma ko.
The first 2-3 occasions.
ñaar ñetti jotaay yooyu.
I was to give briefings to HE, His Excellency.
waxal nag His Excellency.
And I told him.
te ma wax ko.
I said I heard some detainees are being beaten.
te dégg naa ne am na ñoo xam ne ñi jàpp ni dañ leen di dóor.
He giggled.
dafa yëngal bopp bi.
mu ree
He giggled.
mu ree.
I just looked at him. He said,
ma xool ko mu ne.
"Oh, tell them to cooperate."
kon wax leen ñu nangu.
Were you being ordered to torture people to confess?
ndax dañ leen jox ndigal pour ngeen mitital nit ñi mun ñu wax.
I didn't implement that order.
The question is, Mr. Sambou, were you at that stage being ordered to torture these detainees to confess?
li ñoo wax mooy jamono boobu ndax yow dañ la joxoon ndigal pour ngeen mitital ñooñu nga xam ne ñoom ngeen téyewoon pour ñu wax.
The inference was that.
li fa xewoon mooy.
I didn't implement that order. I just went back to my office.
doxaluma woon ndigal boobu dama delluwaatoon suma office.
We would come to all that tomorrow. Thank you very much.
nañ ci dellu ëllëg jërëjëf.
Mr. Chair, that would be it for today.
foofu la ñu am tey.
Thank you.
Council, Mr. Sambou, you weren't when you didn't carry out that unlawful order to torture, where you tortured yourself.
Never.
We were told earlier on that when orders were given to torture and those orders not carried out, the fear was there that they themselves, those who did not want to carry out the orders, would be tortured. Were you or were you never tortured?
I have never been touched.
You have never tortured anyone.
I have never tortured anybody, and I've never been touched.
Mosuma mbugal ken te itamen mosuñ ma lali tamen.
Fine. When we going to come back tomorrow, do you have any more samples in your bag of notations by Jammeh on memorandum sent to him? The one that you showed us is very, very scanty. You couldn't tell the context of what Yahya was replying to in a very angry way. We couldn't read even that writing. You were the one trying to explain that. Sorry, interpreter, I'm just going on. But if you have more examples, bring, if you can help us with that.
bu fekkee ne ëllëg booy ñëw am nga yeneeni firnde yoo xam ne mel na ni biñ fi wane sànq mel ni Yaya Jammeh boo leen bindee dara ba indi ko ci moom ay kàddu yu ñàkk teggin yi nga xam ne moom la dee binda ci kaw kayit boobu am na boo ñu fi woon tey na waaye leerut loon yow sax yaa ñu ko mënoon a leeralal bu fekkee ne am nga beneen bu gën a leer bi su ëllëgee booy ñëw ndax mi ngi ko mën a indiwaale.
Please allow me to search through, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Our obligation is to create an impartial historical record. To take that memo that you gave us, and then all the things that you say, he's erratic, he's this, he's that, we need to be fair to him and see the context in which he was reacting, rather than reach a conclusion that this is coming from a madman or an erratic fellow.
waa ñun nag fii amul benn parparloo boo xam ne daal moom lañ fee mun a doxal loolu moo tax bu fekkee ne war nañ koo tuumaal jikko ñàkk a teggin ak mbir yu mel noonu nga xam ne mu ngi ko doon def dafa war a fekk nag ñu am lu leer loo xam ne am nañ ko ci moom lu ko mooy nag dafa mel ni niñ ko war a jàppee moom jàppee wuñ ko noonu loolu moo tax ñu bëgg lu leer loo xam ne ci la ñoo sukkandiku.
Even the devil is entitled to fair treatment. Counsel, you have a point of order to raise.
Yes, I had asked the investigators to put together a collection of such minutes. So we would at some stage have to put them in through an investigator, because to call the heads of the various departments would be difficult. But we can put them in through an investigator, and we can do it as early as tomorrow if the chair is interested, just to so that whilst we are on this same topic, we could deal with it, and you can have a flavor of some of the minutes Yaya Jammeh would write to the staff in government.
That should be very helpful indeed. Thank you, Counsel. We will, witness, you have something to say before we close for the day?
I'm all right. I'm quite all right.
Thank you very much. Well, I hope you all have a restful evening. And the Counsel, again, thank you so much. I ask you to stay and then go on. It seems as if you can go on now until...
happy to go on. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned. We'll meet tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock sharp. Thank you.